all your friends. That's what social media can. Many of us feel, I have done this, I've watched my life, and this is so what does the 5,000 friends online represent, or what is it break down to? If you have friends in your life, actual friends,
welcome back. You're watching the QTV Breakfast with me, Jeffrey Ziambo. Right now, I'm joined in the studio by Gilbert Addy from on a mission from the UK. From Ghana, on a mission, but based in the UK, right?
Yes.
On a mission to look at the creative industry in Zambia and how the EU can help out. So, welcome. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate. What brings you to Zambia, Gilbert?
Well, I'm the team leader of a team of 3 consultants who are funded by the European Union delegation in Zambia. We've been here for just over 2.5 weeks, getting to 3 weeks. And our mission is to prepare a medium to long-term program of support for the creative sector. The creative sector is a broad group of industries or subsectors which have the commonality of using primarily creative talent as their basic resource. So we are talking about industries such as the core arts and culture industries, such as the performing arts, crafts, and also industries like your very own broadcasting, film, music, television, as well as writing, publishing, and also the newer, more contemporary industries that use modern technologies such as software development, video games, app development. So it's a very broad collection of industries, some quite traditional, like crafts, dancing, performing arts, but also the more modern technology-based industries. So they're quite a broad collection. And we're working here together with we're in fact being hosted by the National Arts Council, NAC, which is part of the Ministry of Tourism and Culture, because the arts and culture fall within the Ministry of Tourism. So there are important linkages economically with the tourism sector as well, which, as you would know, is very important for Zambia.
But if it doesn't benefit them, then they're not happy about it. That's the nature of
whole
human beings.
Idea of mission is to help a process that's already underway, which is to reposition the arts, culture and creative industries as an economic sector in its own right, because there is a tendency in the popular imagination, not necessarily government policy, but in popular imagination, to see the arts and cultural industries as sort of activities mainly for enthusiastic hobbyists, which is nice and fun, but they're not seen as serious economic sectors. But that isn't the case at all. In fact, part of our mission is to help reposition the arts, culture and creative industries and the creative sector generally as an important economic sector, so that we can reframe the discourse about that sector in terms of parameters like how many people are employed in these sectors, what contribution they make to the economy in terms of the GDP, the economy of Zambia, the possibilities of increasing export earnings. But essentially it's about making these industries more economically competitive.
This
to
is not me.
contribute to the economy
This
of
is not
Zambia.
what I want.
Okay. Is there a particular reason that prompted,
I love that
you
you're
know, this
hardworking.
mission? Because I heard you talking of the creative industry being one of the areas where people don't take seriously, as if it's something that you know, cannot bring in you know, that employment and that much needed income for the people. So apart from that, is there any particular reason why this mission was constituted to come and look at the creative industry in Zambia?
Well, certainly it's official government policy to actually take the sector very seriously. All the indications that the government itself takes it very seriously in policy terms, but the policy have to be translated into concrete actions. So our mission is born out of a need actually to go beyond policy and statements, you know, coming from government officials, politicians, important stakeholders. So our mission is to actually map out a concrete program of action. An action plan will be central to what we're doing, which maps out what needs to be done, how it should be done, who should do it, how much it's likely to cost, so that we go beyond mere policy making or strategy formulation. I think, speaking as an African myself, we are in Africa, we are fairly good at coming out with policies and strategies. We are not so good when it comes to implementing these. And I think the hope is that this will be a point of departure, that we'll go beyond the talking and focus on the doing now. So actually have an action plan which will be implementable and will get implemented.
Okay. How has been experience so far? What have you seen in terms of the Zambian creative industry from the time that you've been here?
Hello, how you doing?
What is it that you've noticed and that you think worth mentioning right now?
Well, there's certainly a lot of creative talent here in Zambia. We've met a wide range of creative industry practitioners, small firms, and other people involved in these industries. But like I explained before, it's a very wide sector, and there are different subsectors or industries, and within each industry there are different players. There's something which in the business and certainly in the economic is known as the value chain. If you take the music industry, for instance, when you talk about the music industry, it's very easy for one to conjure up an image of a band or musician, you know, cheerfully playing their instruments there. But the reality is that in what is known as the music industry, you've got the actual creators of the music, you've got the music publishing firms, you've got the event promoters, those who own the venues, those who sell instruments, they're the marketers, the promoters. All these are part of the music industry. At one end, you have those who create the product, that's the music makers themselves. But before the music gets to the final consumer, the public who buy the music, as a product, it needs to go through various stages like the record production, the various people who are involved in the recording, then in terms of live performance, the promoters, the venue, all of these people and small businesses, because I talk about small businesses because they're typically small, are all part of the music industry. And the same thing applies to, say, the fashion industry. You've got those who actually do the designing, and then you have those who do the marketing, the bloggers or writers who write about fashion, so people read about fashion. Then there are the boutiques who actually sell the final product to the consumer. They're all part of the fashion industry. So typically within each industry, among what's known as the creative industries, there's so many different stages of each product. So there'll be quite a lot of people for us to talk to in terms of finding out what the current situation is regarding each industry, what the issues, what the problems are, so that whatever proposals we make can be tailored to what the real problems are. So we actually make proposals and formulate an action plan that's clearly tailored at the issues as they are today, not as they were 5 or 10 years ago, or not as they will be could possibly be sometime in the future as they are today. So it's meant to be a forward-looking action plan that we're working on, but which will be closely tailored to the problems and issues and challenges as they are. We'd rather think in terms of challenges rather than problems. I mean, problems can sound, the word problem can often sound disempowering, as if it's a challenge. So there are various things which will have to be done, but in terms of the noble and laudable objective of making these industries for the purposes of the Zambian economy, to make them more economically competitive, profitable, therefore sustainable. These are challenges which are, I think, will be worth addressing.
All right. Thank you so much for that. We'll take a break, and when we come back, I think we're going to discuss more on your mission here.
Yeah, certainly. Thank you.
You're watching Q Breakfast. We'll be right back.
Stomp your feet, take to the beat. Oh yeah. Move up and zula.
Go get a stumble now.
Welcome back. You're watching the Q Breakfast, and I'm joined by Gilbert Addy from the EU, heading an EU mission to come and look at the creative works and industry in Zambia. So, Gilbert, before we went for a break, we were discussing the issue. I posed a question to you on what you've seen so far in Zambia in terms of your mission here and what you came to do. Do you have any particular findings so far? Can I safely say that you've come up with some findings during your stay here so far?
Yeah. Well, there are tremendous opportunities. There's a lot of creative talent. You meet a lot of young people who are as good at what they do, especially in the technological field. There's people anywhere in the world. I've met young people who are just as good at web design as people, web designers anywhere. They're fantastic musicians, they're people who are good at craft. There's no question that there's a lot of creative talent here in Zambia, but there are opportunities, but there are important challenges as well. Typically, the sector is quite fragmented. One of my colleagues, Stephen Chifinusa, has been going around the provinces talking to people, because as you know, I mean, Zambia is quite a large country by African standard, compared to Ghana. Geographically, it's quite big, and so you have issues of transport distances. You also have I've read somewhere, Zambia has quite a lot of borders with neighbouring countries. It probably has more borders with other countries than any country in Africa.
It's one of the countries that has
the most borders.
We have about 8 neighbouring countries.
8 neighbouring. That is quite high.
Yes.
And your central location in Africa, relatively rather like the Democratic Republic of the Congo, meaning that you have people coming in and out of Zambia. Equally, you have goods and services coming in Zambia,
that's right,
into Zambia and out of Zambia. So, and Zambia is a peaceful, open economy. It's an attractive country.
That's right.
For many people. Lots of people want to come to live in Zambia. So the net result of all that is that imports flow in easily, not just goods, but products from the creative industries. There are those who believe that Zambia could possibly have a competitive advantage in the production and possibly even the export of craft products. But at the same time, there are a lot of craft products in Zambia, crafts, which come in from neighbouring countries like Zimbabwe and Malawi. There's some even from China. So there's a lot of competitive pressure on the Zambian producers of the crafts. take music, for instance. There are issues. Now, when we talk about creative talent, intellectual property is key when you talk about the creative industries, because part of the key product is to do with the imagination, the mind, intellectual property. So you find with the music industry, between piracy is a big problem here. I mean, there are those who believe that the institutions and policies are there, but the enforcement is not strong enough. So musicians will complain that, look, we don't get the returns we ought to be getting from our work, simply because anybody, or it seems, can just go and copy our music on a CD. So that needs to be looked at. Also, if you take the film industry, you have quite a lot of filmmaking and acting talent here, but because you have to compete against a country like Nigeria, which has a critical mass because it has a huge population.
Yes.
So the costs of production in the film industry a lot lower in Nigeria than they are in Zambia, and a lot of people have got used to Nigerian films. So there are indications that people do like Zambian films, but Nigerian movies are all over the place, simply because it's a much bigger, it will always be a much bigger industry with lower costs, because at the end of the day, the population of Lagos City is more than the population of all of Zambia. Because Lagos population is 20 million. Yeah, so there are these challenges, and also the issue of quality. The crafts produced in Zambia tend to be good, quite particular to and emblematic of Zambia, but there are indications that there's a lot of variation in quality. So quality improvement is also very important. But I mean, I would say, to sum it all up, there are a lot of opportunities here in Zambia, but also there are challenges which have to be addressed. But opportunities often lie in challenges. It's important to find out which areas, which niches Zambia can actually be very competitive in, and home in on those. For instance, in the films, only Zambians can really produce typically Zambian films. So there lies an opportunity, but it's important to produce them well. So everything you do, you just do them well.
That's correct. When you talk of films, when we're talking of the issue of films, have you had a chance to really try to understand, I think, from the filmmakers here, have you had a chance to sit down with filmmakers so that they share maybe some of the challenges so that they are facing creating those films that are creating?
Yes, I've met a few, like Rob Nyirenda, and a few others, and we've been holding a series of consultations with representatives of all these industries, and at the last count, we've had over 100 meetings in less than 3 weeks with not just the filmmakers, but all the creative industries. Yeah, it's been a very busy schedule. My colleague Stephen Chipnuse has been doing these consultations in the provinces, and our other colleague Monica Bastos, who's based in South Africa, and myself, we've been covering Lusaka, because there are a lot of institutions. Apart from the actual practitioners, we also need to hold consultations with important government officials, because the public sector is very important, will always be very important. In fact, one of the key outputs which we're expected to come out with will be what is described as a government service delivery plan, which basically will outline the sort of support services that government will have to ideally provide for the sector. So there will be dues for both the public sector and the private sector, and we're also looking at ways of mobilizing resources beyond government, the private sector, for instance, sponsors, investors, to try and get those members of corporate Zambia who have the resources and the inclination perhaps to invest more in the creative industry.
Okay, you've talked of the issue because your mission here is actually on a fact-finding mission to find out exactly, how the creative work sector is working in Zambia. So now, what happens? What next? After you gather the findings, then what's going to happen next in terms of those findings?
Well, the fact-finding, which is what we've been
why you're going to
doing over the past 2 to 3 weeks, it's really only the prelude
one of the
to
things that
what will hopefully be our main outputs, which will be the creative sector action plan, the government service delivery
if someone has done something wrong to you
plan,
or they've said something wrong
and
to you,
a resource mobilization strategy also to spell out what needs to be done in terms of mobilizing resources from beyond the public sector.
and then Michelle decides to take
Because I think in the past it's been seen as a sector for the government to fund, but the government has pressures on it from all corners, as you would know in Zambia. There's
people need to
health, roads, you name it. So we've got to look beyond the public sector. And also we'll be putting together a twinning program, hopefully to twin Zambian institutions
and then I'm wearing
in the
a ring.
creative sector with partners in other parts of Africa or even Europe, because we shouldn't forget that we are being funded by the European Union. So we look at possibilities
I would just say it.
twinning with European institutions.
I want to tell my
So
family, oh,
fact-finding, yes, it's very important, but it's really a prelude to our main outputs.
So
It's
as
a
long
means
as
to
I
an end,
haven't
which is to
said anything
formulate
to accompany
a
that
forward-looking
picture
action
or
plan.
the post that I
The 4 key outputs.
Who are you
The central one will be an
to jump to
action plan which
conclusions
clearly
and to just
maps
conclude
out what needs to be
on what
done.
it is that you feel
Okay.
is happening.
During my interactions with most film
lot of
makers
us
in Zambia,
want
one of the
to
things
feel
that keeps coming up, apart from the creative
the-
aspect,
a
is
lot-
the issue of lacking equipment.
Equipment.
Has
A lot
been
of
a
us
very thorny
feel that
issue
we
in
need
terms
to
of
explain
making.
ourselves.
They complain that they don't have
We
adequate
need to
and
explain why we don't
adequate equipment
Yeah.
to be able to come up with to bring out their creative
Yeah.
ideas.
One of the issues we'll be looking at will be
It's not for them to know.
possible fiscal
It's not for them to know.
incentives,
And so you
like
need to
perhaps
understand that
waiving
you
of
need to
taxation
stop trying to
on
explain
imported
yourself.
equipment, so that the imported equipment
If
will be
you're going to
cheaper
go to a
than it is
restaurant,
at
go
the
to a
moment.
restaurant.
It's not just the film
Don't feel the need
makers,
to
the musicians
explain
have
to people that you feel
similar
need
complaints that
the explanation.
equipment,
Social media
music
especially,
equipment
don't go back to
and
social media because I always
various
feel that
equipment for
social media
servicing.
has
Quite often
tendency to
musical
sort of
equipment
push it
from like motor cars
things
need to be
and
repaired and
things
serviced.
and
Yeah,
things
and you need
so
certain
that
things that
If
they're a
I'm
little
going to
too
go to a
expensive in
restaurant, I'm
Zambia,
going
which
to eat nice
make the whole
or
business
expensive
difficult.
food.
So
It's
it's something
not
we'll
my
have
business.
to
It's not your business. I'm using my money, not your
examine.
money.
But certainly in our
So why
interaction
should I
with
explain
filmmakers,
why
this
I decided to go
argument
to a hotel, for example,
has kept,
and not
you
just
know,
go to
cropping
simple
up that
takeaway and have a simple
the equipment's
pie or
just
simple
too expensive.
chicken and chips. If I want a
We'll
good
look at,
meal,
ways in
and I
which
have the money
that
for a
issue
good
can be
meal,
addressed.
I will go.
All right.
to
So
a
how is your
restaurant
schedule from now
and I will
on?
have my
What is it that you're expected to
that's
do
what I want
once
to
you're
do.
here?
That's what I
Well,
can
we're
afford.
scaling back because we've done quite a lot of consultations at the moment. So after having gathered all this information, the next stage, of course, is analysing the information, putting together on paper, at least, on the screen, the computer screen, what our key findings are, and preparing the action plan.
Same thing goes for a
We'll be
job.
here
If you
until
decide to quit your job,
the
or
Easter,
you decide to apply for a
the-
different job,
just
and
before
you
the
go
Easter
for that job,
weekend. Then
don't feel the need to explain
I will be away
why
for
you left
just a mere
your previous
11
job,
days for the Easter
or
break,
why
and
you
I'll be
want
back
a
here in
different job,
Zambia.
a
My
new
2
job.
colleagues
You don't have
will
to
come back to
quit anyone.
Zambia because
I mean, your
they're
family is there for a
nearby
reason, right?
in
Any
Zimbabwe and
particular
South Africa.
decision
They'll come
that you
back
make.
about a
If
week
you
after
are
I come
with
back.
someone,
Then
a
we'll be
partner, for
here
example, you would explain what needs to be
until
explained to your
the end
partner,
of
and you
May.
tell them,
And
oh, you know what, I'm
I
doing
should
this
add
because
perhaps
I kinda
that
feel that I need
the
to
last
go
week of
first
May
and I
we'll
need
be
to
holding a
do
1-week
this. And so your
cultural
partner will
event,
understand.
which will be
Your family, your parents,
an
your
opportunity to
guardians,
showcase
they will
Zambian
understand.
creative
Because
talent.
they already know.
It's not the central
what
element
you're
of our
going through.
work,
They already know
but
your day-to-day.
it gives a flavour to the public.
so
You know, tells
if
them
you
what we
explain to them
what exactly
and
we
tell them
mean
that I'm
when we
making
talk
this
about
step, I'm making this
creative
bold
industries.
decision to
What
stop
sort
what I'm
of
doing,
products, what sort
and
of
I want to do
talent
this, and I
here
want
in
to contribute
Zambia do
to
we
this.
have?
They will
It'll be a
understand
largely
because they are your parents.
visual arts exhibition, but there'll be other opportunities for others in the industry to showcase their talent. It will be held at the Henry Tayari Center here in Lusaka. So I hope members of the public, and certainly your good self, will come and see what Zambia has to offer. Yeah. I think largely.
Okay. Just as we come to an end of our interview, any word of maybe encouragement or your last words to especially those that are in the creative industry here in Zambia?
Well, a word of encouragement. There are always opportunities in life. I mean, I tell you, no matter how grim anybody's personal circumstances may be, no matter how difficult the general economy in Zambia or the world, there are always opportunities. I mean, part of being a creative person or having creativity and imagination is to think beyond the box. There's always something you can do. The greatest resource in this world, I believe, is the human mind, which gives birth to creativity. There's always an opportunity to do something. If you've got a skill, even if you don't think you have a skill, you can develop a skill. And do something. So there are tremendous opportunities for Zambia in these industries for diversifying the urban economy. Also, some of the rural economy. So there are tremendous opportunities, and Zambia is a wonderful country, and I'm very confident that the creative industry will play a part in Zambia's economic future, positively.
Thank you so much, Gilbert, for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we've been talking to Gilbert Addy, who is on an EU fact-finding mission to the creative sector, just to find out how the creative sector is doing in Zambia, to come up with recommendations and see the best way forward in terms of the creative sector in Zambia, helping them out, map out strategies on how to improve it, because the creative sector has the potential to create employment and be able to generate income for the masses, as well as help in the growth of our economy. You're watching Q Breakfast, and I'm Jeffrey Zambia. We'll take a break.
When you think water, think